this is all back in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking like I'm going all the way back to the 80s. And then in the 90s came Hoodlum West. Hoodlum West, and that's a whole nother crew that mixed with TDK and Chaos Committee. So that's me, Lumberjack, Ernest, Adrian Steen, Fat Dog, shout out to Fat Dog, shout out to Lumberjack, shout out to Adrian, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Danger Man, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Magnum Loke. So so you had those crews, man, and then in the 90s we formed Hoodlum West, you know what I'm saying? And Hoodlum West has kind of been my main crew up until this day, you know what I'm saying? I might be the last one still repping it, but it's still here, you know what I'm saying? Hoodlum West, yeah. Definitely the foundations of Santa Ana hip hop. Like I said, KMC is definitely a foundation, and we're like right after them. I'm right after them, so definitely a foundation of Santa Ana music, period. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Bardos and them. Shout out to my man Derek Bardot and his family. Also a staple here in Santa Ana, foundation, you know what I'm saying? They had the big studio right here off of Grand for a while. But yeah, as far as being one of the founding foundations of Santa Ana hip hop, Santa Ana music, I would definitely say my crew and the crews that I come from were a big part of that, you know what I'm saying? We didn't get recognized back when they were used to do stuff in the OC Weekly all the time, you know what I'm saying? I used to try to tell people over at the OC Weekly, y'all missing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to talk about the new people, talk about the youngsters doing it, but you gotta start from where it start, you know what I'm saying? And they was missing the point a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? OC Weekly ain't even around no more, you know what I'm saying? I done seen so many artists come and go, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing my thing for decades around here when it comes to music, you know what I'm saying? So I watch them start and I watch them finish, and I'm still over here kicking chicken, you know what I'm saying? Getting down in the studio, still doing shows at 46, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah. First off, with the big voice, you know, back in the golden era, we didn't mumble, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't mumble, you couldn't come up there mumbling, you had to be loud, you had to be clear, you know what I'm saying? I come from listening to NWA, listening to Ice Cube, listening to Chuck D, you know what I'm saying? Where you had to, you know, Chuck D say something, I got the voice of power is in the house, go take a shower, you know what I'm saying? You had to be loud, you had to be clear, you had to have a lot of energy, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't be coming up there mumbling and talking about this, you know what I'm saying? People will walk away from you, you know what I'm saying? You had to grab their attention back then. So that's the era that I come from, that's who I learned from, you know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the Caribbean thing goes, I have two connections to the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? I grew up, shout out to the Colthurst family, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Colthurst family, man. Shout out to Peter, shout out to Tony, shout out to grandmoms and moms and them, you know what I'm saying? So I grew up with a Jamaican family, you know what I'm saying? Used to spend time with them and used to listen to them speak, used to listen to the music that they listened to. And what a lot of people don't know is that Orange County, Southern California, was always a hub for reggae music. A lot of people don't know Bob Marley performed at the Irvine Amphitheater back in '74. You know what I'm saying? Back in '74 or 1977 or something like that, he performed in Irvine. He came out here and performed, so that energy was always here ever since then. You had a lot of white reggae bands start up right here in Orange County, start up in Southern California, you know what I'm saying? So this was always a hub for reggae. So I grew up around a Jamaican family, Jamaican friends, and I grew up around other people, a lot of white people, a lot of my white friends listen to reggae, a lot of my black friends. Shout out to LC, shout out to Gino Tomasino, you know what I'm saying? They all turned me on to reggae from an early age. Now, besides that, now, the Caribbean is in my blood, because I know my passage as far as the Atlantic slave trade is concerned. So for me to move along in life, I need to know where I come from. So I did my studies, you know what I'm saying? I done found out a lot about my past, about the past people that I come from, about my generations before me, about my great grandparents, you know what I'm saying? But like just, you know what I'm saying, real quick, just to tell you about my passage as far as the Atlantic slave trade is concerned. I come from Cameroon, Africa. From Cameroon, Africa, I was sold to a plantation in Jamaica, right? From a plantation in Jamaica along the Atlantic slave trade, I was brought and sold to a plantation in Alabama. You know what I'm saying? That's just one of my passages from one of my forefathers of my pre-generations, you know what I'm saying? So coming from Africa, we stopped off in Jamaica for years, you know what I'm saying? We lived in that plantation, had babies, and then those babies were sold to right here in America. So the Caribbean and Jamaican runs in my blood, you know what I'm saying? That's why you're quick to hear me stuff. I'll be quick to spit some patois on their ass in a minute, you know what I'm saying, up on stage. I'm known for spitting patois lyrics in my raps. Listen, they call me the old Sparky, then the anarchy. Son of the Gargan, Kitty, look, Kitty is Harvey. Sung by Marley and the Spanner Marcus Garvey. One they came with the lion that they call and sell. Hey, Bobby and their mommy, one feet quick draw me. While you saw me get all raw and unlawly. Turn up the fire, we gon' have a some party. Turn up the fire, we gon' burn up somebody. Bullet fee higher, see I learn up the young schoolie. Pull it feed the broken, go fix it up with me toolie. What a cacarano with Babylon unruly. Carefully spoken, I am telling you this truly. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. So, you know, it just came out like that. It comes out like that. And that's something that I've been doing since, you know, people ask me, yo, man, are you faking Jamaican? Hell no, I've been doing that since the playpen. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. I have to say, you know, growing up, I listened to a lot of East Coast rap. You know what I'm saying? A lot of East Coast rap, a lot of reggae. That's what I listened to when I was on my own, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was first influenced by. But in the late 80s, early 90s, growing up with the cats that I grew up with, even though that's what I listened to on my own, I grew up around gangsters. I grew up around West Coast gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? My friends, going back to Pride Development, I knew a lot of the gangbangers that did gangbang back in those days. I knew them before the gang, you know what I'm saying? They got into the gang as the 80s and 90s rolled through, you know, so they all listened to West Coast rap in a real way, you know what I'm saying? So later on, I was influenced by them, you know what I'm saying, and influenced by that. That always had an influence on me, but my first thing that I did grab onto was East Coast rap, reggae rap, you know what I'm saying? And then later on came West Coast, the art of West Coast rapping, you know what I'm saying? And then once I got a hold of that, I done spent so much time in the studio with Hoodlum West and, you know, me and Lumberjack, and I kind of got reshaped into a West Coast rapper, you know what I'm saying? So there it is, I do reggae, East Coast rap, West Coast rap. My roots are from the South, so I'll break out a Southern rap on you in a minute, you know what I'm saying? So I know all forms, East Coast, West Coast, South, North, all forms of rap. I know how to do it. I can even take you over to London if you want, and I'll spit some proper English on you on a rap song too, you know what I'm saying? I done studied all forms of rap. I done studied all forms of American music, period. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will tell you, Damien is not a rapper, Bux is not a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Music, period, runs deep in my family on my father's side. You know what I'm saying? I got people that are Grammy nominated. I come from the best church singers in Dayton. I mean, singers and musicians and saxophone players. You know what I'm saying? There's so many, like I tell people all the time, if you take the people in my family, out of the 25 people that do freaking music, I'm not in the top 5. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even in the top 5 in my own family. So that's a humbling thing right there, you know what I'm saying? It actually motivates me to keep on going and to keep on getting better, even as I get older in life, you know what I'm saying? Because my family, there's so many people in my family that make music, so many people that are already better than me, been doing it longer than me, that I'll never even come close to. you know what I'm saying, and my own family. So that's something that always kept me humble and gave me the inspiration to do what I do. You know, if I grew up in another area, I wouldn't be the artist that I am. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have the reggae influence. You know, I might have just been a hood rapper if I grew up someplace else. You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, like I said, I'm the type of guy, you can put me in the 1930s, I would have been a blues singer. In the 50s, I would have been a doo-wop singer. If I grew up in the 50s, I would have been a doo-wop person. 60s and 70s, I would have been a funk singer. I would have did the disco thing, you know what I'm saying? I would have did the soul singer thing. I grew up in the 80s, so that's why I do rap and rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? I'm a master of American genres. I do doo-wop music. I do funk. I do rock and roll. I do soul. I do blues music. You know what I'm saying? All those things. But what helped me to do all those different genres is growing up right here in such a multicultural place, right here in Orange County, where you have all kind of different cultures. I mean, I grew up with the rock and roll crowd. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 80s, everywhere you went, you seen the AC/DC sticker all over Santa Ana. You know what I'm saying? Or at least on the outskirts. You know what I'm saying? So you got the rock and roll, you got the heavy metal, you got the mariachi music from the Latino community, Hispanic community, you know, from the Chicano community. You got their music, and then you got the influence of soul, funk, and rap, and blues, rhythm and blues from the black community here. So, you know, and then, you know, doo-wop was always one of my favorite genres right here in America. So I studied that, and I also do that with the band that I'm in now.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got children?
Yeah. I got children, man. I got a lot of kids. A lot of kids all over the world, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to my kids, you know what I'm saying? As far as I know, none of them do music, you know what I'm saying? None of them make music. And, you know, I'm not mad at that, you know what I'm saying? Because music is, you know, I tell people all the time, people will buy a pencil because they need that pencil. You know, people are gonna buy your music only if they want it. You know what I'm saying? So you could spend all kind of years and all kind of hours. You can be a great musician, you know what I'm saying? And people still ain't gonna want your music, but they're gonna buy that pencil because they need that pencil. See what I'm saying? People don't need your music, you know what I'm saying? They have to love and want to have your music, you know what I'm saying? So when you're making music, you gotta realize that, and you gotta come to grips with that, and let that be a deep understanding in your own life that, hey, I'm doing something that people don't necessarily need. I'm putting all these hours into something that people don't need. And when I'm finished with the product, it might be great, but the person ain't gonna need that. What that person is gonna need is they're gonna need to put food on the table for their family. That's what they need to do. Or they're gonna need to pay the rent. They're gonna need to pay the car note, you know what I'm saying? They're just gonna want my music, you know what I'm saying? So I always thought, you know, you gotta be willing to sacrifice a whole lot as a musician, especially nowadays, you know, now that they done put now that it done went so viral and we don't have the hard copy as far as vinyl and tapes is concerned. And music is free. You know what I'm saying? Music is free nowadays, you know what I'm saying? It's go online and you stream it, you know what I'm saying? So people can listen to my music all they want and not have to give me a red cent, you know what I'm saying? So nowadays I think you have to love it even more if you're gonna do it. But nowadays though, it's also easier to get yourself out there because of the internet. So it's a give and take, you know what I'm saying? It's a give and take. So I never did try to influence them to make music or to become a rap artist or a singer, you know what I'm saying? It was always about education and Right now, 46 years old. I'm 46 now, so I still do the rap thing, you know what I'm saying? But I do it in a different sense. I do it in the way of a band. I have a band called the Coyotes del Barrio. The Coyotes del Barrio, and like I said, we're a band that plays funk, rock and roll, soul, disco, hip hop, a little bit of reggae music, you know what I'm saying?